I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'll lead you step by step through the ABRSM theory grades. I've loads of resources available to help you on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets like this that you can download, which will accompany this series. You can download them in US letter or A4, and I'll be making lots of reference to those, so you need to access that to work with me through this series. There's also a page which has links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and also you can access information about the books that I have available. If it is that you're taking these ABRS exams, you're probably working towards the exam, I've written this book, How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory, and it's full of exam techniques and tips and hints to help you to prepare best for your exam and how to make the most of your exam experience. So if you go to sharonbill.com, it's all there. If you can give me a like, that'd be really encouraging to me, that'd be fab. And if you subscribe to my channel, you'll keep updated with all of the great things that I've got in store for you. So let's get cracking straight away on ABRSM Grade 2 Theory and Practice Workbook. You need to remember that all of the information here builds upon what was already covered in ABRSM Music Theory and Practice Grade 1, and so you need to make sure that you're familiar with the material in that first before moving on to this stage. And so now let's open up our workbook and get cracking straight away. Here we go. So we've moved to page 5. You need to make sure that you've got a really sharp pencil and an eraser and a ruler to hand. I use a technical pencil or a propelling pencil. They're quite cheap to buy. This is one I've purloined from my husband, and that way I know it's going to keep sharp, because you need to remember that in the exam marks may be lost if your work isn't neat and legible. So we're starting on what I shall refer to as section A, and you'll be referring to this PDF sheet Grade 2 section A, and we're looking at the subject of ledger lines. Really, ledger lines are just extension rungs on the ladder of this stave system here, and so we're just going to extend the notes now beyond one ledger line. We can use 2 or more ledger lines now in this grade. And really, it's just a matter of working out notes that you're perhaps not always familiar with reading. However, it's easy enough to work out. There are 2 ways in which you can go about this. You can either begin counting this note that you've been given and count down 8 and find your note an octave lower. So line, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us to here, which is note C in the treble clef. So we know we're an octave above that, so we're on C sharp, an octave higher than this one. So that's one way you can find the note, by working out your octaves. Alternatively, start from a note that you are familiar with. So we know that the treble clef is Every Good Boy Deserves Football. The top line is F, and so F, G, A, B, C sharp. And so you just need to work out what those notes are based upon either of those systems. And so perhaps if you want to press pause and just have a go at these, don't worry if you get some wrong, it's okay, you're only writing in pencil, and you can always rub it out and try it again if you haven't quite got it right. So do press pause and have a go, and then you can re-access into the video and I'll work through those with you. Don't just wait and copy with me. It's better to learn from your mistakes and just try yourself first. And so I'm presuming that you've had a little go at that yourself, and so now we'll work through this together. So bear in mind, this is the bass clef. I'll do these first few quite slowly, and then I'll speed up to work through the next few afterwards. So bass clef, we know that the bottom line is G, and so G, F, E, D, that gives us the answer. Alternatively, we count an octave up, counting space line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us here, which is Good Boys Deserve, and so that's a D. Okay, so now we're into the treble clef. Just keep your eyes peeled because it does keep changing clef. That could just put you off a little bit. And so we know this bottom line is E, every good boy. E, D, C, B. Alternatively, you could have counted up your octave, counting the first space line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us here. Every good boy, and we know it's B an octave lower. Let's just have a look at this one here. So we know it's good boys deserve football always in the bass clef. A, B, C, D, E flat. Remember, we always write in capital letters when we write in music notes. Alternatively, we could count the octave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 takes us to here. All cows eat, E flat, an octave higher. Okay, so that's the system that I've used usually to help you to work those notes out if you don't just recognise them quickly and instantly. Let's just charge through this next line in the same way. So this is a treble clef, F, G, A, B, bass clef, C, B, A, G sharp, and work that down from middle C. That's one above middle C, so that's a D and the bass clef. So C, D, E, F. Let's look at the next line here, this last line. So let's try this working the octaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good boys, B flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bass clef all cows, so an octave lower, C sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Space is spelled face, F-A, so that's A, an octave lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every good boy deserves, so that's D, an octave higher in the treble clef. And there we have it, and that's that. So it's as simple as that, really. Just a little bit of practice. Just take your time working that out slowly. The more you use these notes, the more familiar they become, but it's okay to just stop and work things out. And that's really all that's involved. If we just have a little peep at this last section, which is just to look at how to write these notes neatly. So the last part in exercise 1 is just about drawing ledger lines, keeping them nice and neat. We did this in a little bit of grade 1 section C. So you'll notice that the lines of the stave are equally spaced, and so if we're just adding extension rungs in these ledger lines, we need to make sure that they're about the same distance apart. So you can see we'd be here. So just make sure that they don't float off too high, and so space line, we need 2 lines here. However, as we come down, we only need 1 line now. We don't need that second line, that would be redundant. So keeping your line equally spaced, keeping it relatively equally spaced and not sort of falling at an angle. And we don't need one at all there. So it's just a little bit of practice keeping it neat and tidy. Let's have a look at this next one. So you could either use a ruler and use theirs as a guide. Let's see how we go. So that's the space below the second line. So now we need one on the second line. Actually, we don't need that second line now. Just rub that out. So now the space is below the first line. The second line is redundant, so we don't need that anymore. And then just one ledger line, and then here we don't need one at all. So it's just a little bit of practice learning to draw those neatly and accurately. I hope that's been helpful to you. It's great to get started on grade 2 theory. I absolutely love doing music theory, so I hope that my enthusiasm will be catching. Hope it's contagious. If you can give me a subscribe so you can keep updated, there's loads more for us to get through. If you give me a like, that would be fab. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.